Hello students, welcome to Science Learning Gateway. I hope you all are doing good. So today in this tutorial we are going to discuss class 8 science chapter number 11 human eye and colorful world. This chapter is from physics and it carries a good marks for your board exams. You will get questions from this chapter. Definitely you will get questions from this chapter from which you can score very good marks in your exam. For the CBSE students for this year for the session 2020-21 human eye portion has been deleted from your syllabus. You have to read only the colorful world like the formation of rainbow, atmospheric refraction, Tyndall effect, scattering of light. Those topics you have to read. But for the other state boards, for the other board students like Karnataka board, Maharashtra board and all, you have to read the full chapter. Uh, as I have the CBSE students also and that state board students also like Karnataka board and all, so I have to cover the full chapter. So I will cover the full chapter in the tutorial. And for CBSE student, I request you all to please watch the video after human eye. Means you don't have to read about the myopia, hypermetropia and all that. You have to start from the topic colorful world. From there you have to start reading this chapter. So let's start with our chapter human eye and the colorful world. Before starting guys, I have a small request from you all. If you're really liking my tutorial in my channel, then please click on the like button and share it with your friends also. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so that whenever I will be uploading a new video, you'll get the notification for that. And if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe it. You can also connect with me through my Facebook page. The link I will provide in the description box. And for the 10th student, I request you all to watch all the videos because almost more than half of the chapter I have covered in the playlist of class 8 science. You can check over there. Only the chapter that is sources of energy and management of management of natural resources, those chapters are left. Otherwise I have covered all the chapter. You can go through those chapters and read your NCERT book. I request you all to read your NCERT book because it is very important from the board exam because they can give question from anywhere. So you have to read the NCERT book. Okay, so let's start with our chapter human eye and the colorful world. Okay, human eye. You all know human eye is one of the sense organ of all the sense organ. Human eye is one of the sense organ which is very important for us, which is very valuable for us because we through our eyes only we can see the wonderful world around us and the colors which are around us. Without eyes we cannot see the world around us and the colors which we have so many colors around us, we cannot see those colors, right? So it enables us to see the beautiful and the colorful world around us. Suppose if you close your eyes, by the smell and the touch you can identify that which food is that or which object is that. But without your eyes we cannot see that which color is that. We cannot identify the red, yellow, green, black, white, the colors without our eyes. So eyes are very important for us. They are the most valuable and the sensitive or sense organ given by the nature to us, right? So first of all we'll read about human eye. So what is human eye? It is a sense organ that enables us to see the things around us. Okay, and where it is located in the eye socket in skull. Okay, its position is it is located in the eye socket in skull. And the diameter of our eyeball, what is the diameter? This is the diameter. Okay, this is the eyeball and the diameter of the eyeball is 2.3 centimeter. Remember this one, the diameter of the eyeball is 2.3 centimeter. And human eye works like a camera. In the previous chapter, that is in light, reflection and refraction, we have read the properties of light, how reflection and refraction will occur through the mirror and the lenses. We have read the reflection and reflection through the lenses, also spherical, concave lens, convex lens, right? So those properties also will use in this chapter for studying the human eye. Okay, and human eye, it is like a camera. Okay, its lens system forms an image on the light sensitive screen called the retina. So in human eye also lens is there, screen is there where the image will be formed. So the what will happen, the light rays will enter into the eyes on the lens. After refraction, what will happen, image will be formed, and where the image will be formed, it will form on the retina. So in our eyes, the retina is the screen where the image will be formed, right? So now we'll look at the different parts of the eyes which are given in this figure. Okay, first of all we have this cornea. Through the cornea what will happen, through the cornea light will enter. Okay, through the cornea light enters through the eye. Next we have the pupil. this is the pupil, and then we have the iris. Iris is the muscular diaphragm like structure, which iris helps to control the size of the pupil, right? Next we have aqueous humor. Liquid type of water type of substance will be present over there, that is called the aqueous humor. Crystalline lens, this structure is called the crystalline lens. Through this the light will enter and the light will be reflected and the image will be formed. And the screen, at the last you have the retina, and these are the ciliary muscles. At the end you can see two ciliary muscles are there at the ends. Okay, and the vitreous humor, in this the jelly like substance will be present, that is called the vitreous humor. So your vitreous humor contains your jelly like substance and your aqueous humor contains the water like substance. And over there we have the optic nerves, which help to send the electrical signals to the brain. Optic nerves help in sending the electrical signals to the brain. So once again, in short, I will discuss this one. Our eye, human eye is like a camera, and its lens, this crystalline lens, it forms an image on the screen called the retina. And from where the light will enter? The light will enter through the cornea. Okay, so the light will enter through the cornea. And next what we have, the eyeball of the eyeball is 2.3 centimeter, and most of the refraction for the light rays entering the eye occurs at the outer surface of the cornea. The crystalline lens merely provides a finer adjustment of focal length required to focus the object at different distance on the retina. Okay, so this crystalline lens, it helps in the formation of the image on the retina. It is the most important structure through which the images will be formed on the retina. Then we have the iris, right? And it is behind the cornea. You can see this one is your cornea. The iris is behind the cornea. And what is this iris? It is like a dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. The size of the pupil will be controlled by the iris. And what is the function of this pupil? It regulates and controls the amount of light entering the cornea, okay, entering the eyes. The pupil will regulate the amount of light, means how much light should enter into the eye. It will be controlled by the pupil. And the image which is formed on the retina is, what is the nature of the image which is formed on the retina? It is real and inverted image. Real and inverted image will be formed on the retina. And it is like, retina is like a delicate membrane having enormous number of light sensitive cells. In the retina, it works like a screen where image is formed, and it contains the number of light sensitive cells. And when they get illuminated means when light comes and they get illuminated, they will generate electrical signals. In the retina, electrical signals will be generated that are transferred or sent to the brain through this optic nerves, and the brain interprets these signals and the informations and process the information so that we perceive the object as they are. Means after the signals are gone to the brain, sent to the brain will interpret those signal and process the information, and after that we can look at the object at what they are. Okay, so now we'll discuss about the parts of the eye. Parts of the human eye. It is also important from your exam point of view. Sometimes question are asked, discuss the draw the structure of human eye and discuss its parts or describe its structure. So that time you have to write the full thing over. And sometimes it can be as write the function of cornea, write the function of pupil. So you should know the functions of all the parts of the eye. So over there we have few parts of the eye, human eye, whose function you should remember. First one is cornea. So what is cornea? It is the outermost transparent part. It provides most of the refraction of light. So cornea is the outermost and transparent part of our eye. Outermost and transparent part of our eye, and most of the refraction of light will occur in cornea. Refraction of light. Correct? Next we have the lens. That is a crystalline lens. Just now we have seen that structure. It is composed of fibrous jelly-like material, provides focused and real inverted image of the object on the retina. This is convex lens that converges light at retina. So what does that crystalline lens consist of? It is consist of fibrous jelly-like material, and because of this lens, real and inverted image is formed on the retina. This is a convex lens. Our crystalline lens is like a convex lens that converges the light at the retina. All the light will be converge and the image will be formed on the retina. Next one we have iris. What is iris? It is a dark muscular diaphragm that controls the size of the pupil. Just now I told you that it is a dark muscular diaphragm, and what is the function of this pupil? This iris, it will control the size of the pupil. And what is pupil? It is a window of the eye. It is called the window of the eye. It is the central aperture in iris. It regulates and controls the amount of light entering the like in our house we use the curtains. So curtains will regulate the amount of light, means how much light should enter into. If you don't want the light, we close the curtain, right? So like that only the pupil will work. It is like a window of the eye. It is the central aperture in iris. It regulates and controls the amount of light entering the eye. This is the main function of the pupil. It regulates and controls the amount of light entering the eye. Suppose when you enter from the suppose you're coming from the sunlight and you're entering inside the room, then what will happen? The room will appear dark to you. Why? Because that time pupil needs some time to open. Okay. Next we have the retina. What is the function of retina? It is a screen where the image is formed. It is a delicate membrane having enormous number of light sensitive cells, and you can write over there that image is formed on the retina. Image is formed on the retina. Image is formed. This also you can add over there. This is the most important function. Image is formed on the retina. So these are the parts of the eye along with their function. Next we have the far point and the near point. What is far point? The maximum distance at which the object can be seen clearly is the far point of the eye. Means suppose you are standing over there, okay, and you can look the object over there. This is the maximum distance up to which the object can be seen by the eye is called the far point. So this is the far point for that human eye, right? So the maximum distance at which the object can be seen clearly is the far point of the human eye. And for a normal human adult eye, what is the far point? It is infinity. The value of far point for a normal human adult eye is infinity, because the normal eye or the adult human eye can look at the object located very far from it, so it can be infinity, right? Next one, what is the near point or the least distance of distinct vision? Near point is also known as least distance of distinct vision. The minimum distance at which the object can be seen most distinctively without strain is called the near point. Okay, suppose you are here and the object is over there. So the minimum distance up to which, means suppose the object is very close to you, so the minimum distance but up to which the object can be seen more distinctly without any strain, without any pressure. If you can look at the object near you, then that is called the near point. And for the normal adult human eye, its value is 25 centimeters. Suppose you are reading your book, you cannot keep your books very close to your eyes. It should be 25 centimeter from your eyes. Then only you can read the book clearly without any strain. If you'll keep the book very close to your eyes, you cannot read those books. And what is the range of vision in human eye? It is from 25 centimeter to infinity. Okay, 25 centimeter is the near point and infinity is the far point. So this definition also you should remember: far point and near point. What is far point? The maximum distance. The maximum distance at which the object can be seen clearly is called the far point, and for a normal adult eye, it is infinity. This is also asked, what is the far point for a normal human eye? So then you have to write it is infinity. And what is near point? The minimum distance. Over there you have to write the minimum distance at which the object can be seen more distinctively without any strain. It is called the near point. And for a normal human adult eye, its value is 25 centimeter. Far point infinity, near point 25 centimeter. That you have to remember. Next, we'll read about power of accommodation. It is also very important. Generally, question is asked from this one. What is power of accommodation, or define power of accommodation? Then that time you have to write this definition. The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is called power of accommodation. This is the definition of power of accommodation. The ability of the eye lens. The eye lens has some ability by which it can adjust its focal length. That is called power of accommodation. Okay. So this is the definition of power of accommodation. The ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length, means the focal length can increase or decrease also if the eye lens can adjust it. It is called power of accommodation. Focal length can be changed with the help of ciliary muscles. So how the focal length of the eye can change? With the help of ciliary muscles. You can see in this diagram, ciliary muscles are given over there. So because of the ciliary muscles, the focal length can be changed. Now, when the focal length will increase, For focal length increases when the ciliary muscles relax and the lens get thin. When the ciliary muscle will relax, that time what will happen? Focal length will increase that time. Okay, when the focal length will when the ciliary muscles will relax, that time focal length will increase and the lens will become thin. This crystalline lens, these will become thin. Okay, when the ciliary muscles will relax, focal length will increase and the ciliary muscles get thin. But just opposite will happen when the focal length will decrease. When the focal length will decrease, the ciliary muscles contract, they will contract. Okay, and the lens will get thick that time. The crystalline lens will get thick that time. That time the focal length decreases. So these 2 points you should remember. Focal length increases, crystalline ciliary muscles relax and the lens will get thin. And when the focal length will decrease, that time the ciliary muscles will contract and the lens will get thick. Just opposite you have to remember in this one. Okay. Next, we have the defects of vision and their correction. So, why the defects of vision will occur in human eye? Because of power of accommodation. Okay, when the focal length or when the ciliary muscles focal length are not working properly, power of accommodation is not good. That time defects of vision occurs in the eye, or they are responsible for the defects of vision in our eyes. Okay, sometimes the eye may lose its power of accommodation. In such condition, person cannot see the object clearly and comfortably, and the object will become blurred, or the refract and the defects will arise. So we have to read about 3 defects of vision in this chapter. Okay, so mainly 3 defects of vision are there. First one is your myopia, it is also known as short-sightedness. Next one is hypermetropia, it is also known as far-sightedness, and the third one is presbyopia. Okay, so these are the 3 defects of vision which we have to read in this chapter. And why these defects of vision occur? Because the eye, sometimes eye lose its power of accommodation, it cannot adjust the focal length. That time the defects of vision can occur. So you have to remember there are 3 defects of vision: myopia, hypermetropia and presbyopia. Okay, so one by one we'll discuss all the 3 defects of vision. First of all, we will discuss about myopia. Myopia is also known as short-sightedness or nearsightedness. Okay, myopia is also known as nearsightedness, or you can write short-sightedness also. In myopia, the person can see the nearby object clearly, but he cannot see the far off object clearly. Generally, the children of your age, you all can see the nearby objects very clearly, but far off object you cannot see clearly. This is because of myopia. Okay, so in myopia what happens? A person can see the nearby object clearly, but he cannot see the far off object clearly. For example, if you're sitting in your classroom, okay, if you're sitting in the front bench, you can see the blackboard very clearly, but if you're sitting at the last bench, you cannot see the blackboard clearly. You have to use the spectacles, then only you can see the blackboard clearly. So generally myopia occurs in your age group, so but in which the person can see the nearby object, but he cannot see the far off object. Okay, in a myopic eye, the image of the distant object is formed in front of the retina and not on the retina. So what happens in myopia? In case of myopia, the object will be formed, suppose this is our retina. Okay, this is our retina, so image will be formed not on the retina, it will be formed in front of the retina. Suppose this is the image of the object, the image is formed over there, not on the retina, not on the screen of the eye. So that's why we cannot see the far off object, we can see only the nearby objects in myopia. So you have to remember in this one, image is formed in front of the retina and not on the retina. Okay, and what are the causes of myopia? This is also important. In exams it is asked, what is myopia, what are the causes of myopia, and how myopia can be corrected. So this question can come for your 5 marks questions. So you should understand it clearly. So first of all, you should learn the definition of myopia. It is also known as nearsightedness or short-sightedness. A person can see the nearby object clearly but cannot see the far off object, right? And in in myopia what happens? The image is formed in front of the retina and not on the retina. And what are the causes of myopia? Why myopia occurs, or what is the reason for myopia? First one, excessive curvature of the eye lens. If this is the first reason for myopia, excessive curvature of the eye lens. And second one, if the eyeball will become elongated, elongation of the eyeball. Because of these 2 reasons myopia occurs. First one you have to remember, excessive curvature of the eye lens, and second one is elongation of the eyeball. So these are the two causes of myopia. Next, how myopia can be corrected? It can be corrected by using some lens. And what is the name of that lens? That lens is called concave lens. Okay, it can be corrected by using a concave lens of suitable power. So the myopia can be corrected by using concave lens of suitable power. So you have to remember this one. Myopia is corrected by using concave lens of suitable power. You know that concave lens are also known as diverging lens. So what this diverging lens will do? It will diverge the light of the image and the image is formed on the retina. A concave lens of suitable power will bring the image back on the retina and thus the defect is corrected. So what it will do? The concave lens or the diverging lens, it will bring back the image of the object on the retina and the defect is corrected, right? So this was all about your myopia. You have to remember the myopia. In myopia, the person can see the nearby object clearly but cannot see the far off object clearly, right? Next, what are the causes of myopia? Excessive curvature of the eye lens, elongation of the eyeball. And how it can be corrected? It can be corrected by using concave lens of suitable power, by which the image is formed on the retina and the defect is corrected. You can look at the diagrams given over there. First diagram you can see, in a myopic eye, image of distant object is formed in front of the retina. See, this is the myopic eye. See the from the far off object, suppose this is the object. Suppose over here we have the object which is located at very far point. From there the light rays will come. They will be parallel rays of light will come, and this is our lens of the eye. If the light rays will enter into the eye, what will happen? Refraction will take place, okay, and the image will be formed in front of the retina, not on the retina, right? Next case, the far point of the myopic eye is less than infinity. Suppose, and for this is not a normal eye, this is a myopic eye, so far point will be less than infinity. For a normal eye, we have the far point at infinity, but for a myopic eye, it is not an infinity. It will be near to the eye. So from here, the light rays will enter and the image is formed in front of the retina, not on the retina. And now, how we can correct the myopia? We can correct the myopia by using the concave lens of the suitable power. Okay, we have to place the concave lens over there. The light rays will come, they will enter and they will diverge the light rays, and the light rays will be formed and the image will be formed on the retina. See, rays are first diverged by the concave lens. This concave lens are also known as diverging lens. So what they will do? They will diverge the light. They will diverge the light rays and the image is formed on the retina. Okay, so this was all about your myopia. You have to practice the diagram. Diagrams are also asked in the question in the exam. They are very important from the exam point of view. For Karnataka State Board student, I want to say that this topic is very important, defects of vision, because every year they used to give the question from that, and diagrams are also very important. Okay, next we'll discuss about hypermetropia. Hypermetropia. So what is hypermetropia? Just opposite you have to write for what we have written for myopia. It is also known as farsightedness. Okay, in my hypermetropia, what happens? A person can see the far off object clearly, but he cannot see the nearby object clearly. Okay, a person with hypermetropia can see the distant object. Distance means far off object. Okay, distance means far off object clearly, but cannot see the nearby object distinctly or clearly. You can write like that also. A person with hypermetropia can see the far off object clearly, but cannot see the nearby object clearly. For example, the old age people, they cannot read the newspaper or the books, right? Because the newspaper or the books, they are near to them, so they cannot read those newspaper and all, right? The near point for the person is farther away from the normal near point, 25 centimeter. We have read that for a normal human being, normal adult eye, the near point is 25 centimeter. But for a hypermetropic person, the near point is farther from 25 centimeter. In hypermetropic eye, the image of the object is formed behind the retina and not on the retina. Suppose this is your eye, this is the retina. The image will be formed over here, behind the retina. Okay, and not on the retina. Okay, now what are the causes of hypermetropia? Again, we have two causes for hypermetropia. The focal length of the eye lens is too long. Okay, first reason is this one. The focal length of the eye lens is too long. And second one, the eyeball has become too small. These are the two reasons for hypermetropia. Focal length of the eye lens will be too long and the eyeball has become too small. Now, how it can be corrected? Just opposite lens we have to write over there. There we have written concave lens in myopia, and over there we have to use convex lens. It can be corrected by using a convex lens of suitable power. So what convex lens are also known as converging lens. So what convex lens will do? They will converge the light rays and the image will be formed on the retina. Okay. So this was all about your hypermetropia. You have to remember that in hypermetropia, a person can see the nearby object clearly, can see the far off object clearly, but cannot see the nearby object clearly. And in hypermetropia, the image is formed behind the retina. Okay, and these are the two causes. Focal length of the eye lens is too long, eyeball has become too small. And how it can be corrected? It can be corrected by using a by using convex lens of suitable power. So this was all about your hypermetropia. Once we look at the diagrams over there, this is a near point of hypermetropic eye. This is the near point and the images is formed on the retina. And this is a hypermetropic eye. You can see over there, this is the near point, but this is the near point and the image is formed behind the retina, right? And it can be corrected by using a convex lens. The convex lens, what it will do, it will converge the light rays and the image will be formed on the retina. So you have to practice the ray diagrams for the hypermetropia also and for myopia also. And the last defect is your presbyopia. Okay, and this defect occurs generally in old age people. Okay, when the age means more than 40 years. Okay, around more than 40 years, this defect can be seen on those people. It is a defect of vision due to which an old person cannot see the nearby object clearly due to loss of power of accommodation of the eye. Okay, so what happens in this defect? A old age people cannot see the nearby object clearly due to loss of power of accommodation of the eye. They cannot see the nearby object because of loss of power of accommodation of the eye. And the near power point of the old person having presbyopia gradually recedes and become much more than 25 centimeter away. What will happen? The near point of the old person will cross that 25 centimeter limit and it will become more than 25 centimeter. And what are the causes of presbyopia? Gradual weakening of the ciliary muscles. Ciliary muscles will become weak and diminishing flexibility of the eye lens. The eye lens will also not so flexible. Because of these two reasons, presbyopia occurs. And how it can be corrected? It can be corrected by using bifocal lens. Means half of the lens will be made of concave and half of the lens it will be made of convex lens. Okay, so these are the two reasons. What is presbyopia? In this defect, an old person cannot see the nearby object clearly due to loss of power of accommodation. And what are the reasons for that? Gradual weakening of the ciliary muscles, diminishing flexibility of the eye lens, and it can be corrected by using bifocal lens. Okay, a common type of bifocal lens contain both concave and convex lens. The upper portion consists of concave lens. It facilitates distant vision. If the upper portion of the bifocal lens, it will be made up of concave lens. By using concave lens, what will happen? The person can see the far off object. Okay, and the lower part will be made of convex lens, by which the nearby objects can be seen. Right. So this was all about your presbyopia. Now, what is the advantage of the eyes in front of the face? We have two eyes in our face. So what is the advantage? What advantages we are getting by having two eyes in our face? First one, it gives a wider field of view. We can see the object near us with a very clear view, wider field of view. We can look around that. It enhances the ability to detect faint object. Even the very dull or the faint objects, that also we can see because of the eyes which are present in front of our face. It provides three-dimensional views. Okay, so these are the three features, the three advantages of the eyes in front of the face. So with this human eye portion we have finished. And then in the next video I will cover the colorful world. In that we'll read about the refraction, dispersion, scattering of light, the formation of rainbow, and all those topics will be covered in that second part of this video, human eye and the colorful world. CBSE student can watch the second part of the video, that is the colorful world. Human eye is not needed for your syllabus for the 2020 to 21 session because of COVID. It had been reduced, but the Karnataka board student or the other board student, they have to read the human eye completely because many questions are asked from this topic. So with this we have finished that one. In the next video I will be covering refraction of light through a prism, dispersion of white light, then we'll read about total internal reflection, formation of rainbow, atmospheric refraction and the phenomena associated with that, scattering of light, and few questions are also asked from that also we'll discuss in that one. Thank you for watching my channel Science Learning Gateway. If it is helpful for you, then please like it and share it with your friends also. Don't forget to click on the bell icon, and if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe to it. You can also connect with me through my Facebook page. The link I will provide in the description box. And for the second part, that is the colorful world, you have to watch the second part of this video, of this chapter, Human Eye and the Colorful World. Thank you for watching.